The story you're about to hear is a fictional dramatization. While inspired by real patterns of manipulation, betrayal, and family violence, the names, characters, locations, and events are entirely products of creative storytelling. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental. This story is told to explore the dark psychology of manipulation and the devastating consequences of deception. Before we dive into this twisted tale of family betrayal and deadly secrets, make sure you hit that subscribe button and join the American Shadow family. This fictional story explores one of the darkest aspects of human nature. How far will someone go for love? For jealousy? For revenge? Drop your state in the comments below. Let's explore this together. This is the story of Madison Harper, the girl who played with fire and burned her entire family to the ground. Riverview, Tennessee, a small town where everyone knows everyone, where families gather for Sunday dinners, where secrets are hard to keep. But some secrets are kept so well, so carefully hidden, that when they finally come out, they destroy everything. The Harper family seemed perfect. Robert Harper was a successful insurance agent. His wife, Susan, was a beloved elementary school teacher. They lived in a beautiful colonial-style home on Maple Drive. They had 2 children, a son, Tyler, who was away at college, and a daughter, Madison. Madison Harper was 22 years old. She was beautiful. Long blonde hair that fell in waves down her back. Blue eyes that could light up a room or freeze you with a glance. A smile that made people trust her instantly. She was charming, articulate, confident. Everyone in Riverview loved Madison Harper. She had graduated from the local community college with a degree in business administration. She worked part-time at her father's insurance office. She volunteered at the local animal shelter on weekends. She attended church every Sunday with her parents. She was, by all accounts, the perfect daughter. The kind of daughter every parent dreams of having. But Madison Harper had secrets. Dark secrets. Twisted secrets. Secrets that would eventually lead to tragedy. Madison had grown up close to her extended family. Her mother's side of the family was large. Susan had 3 sisters, and those sisters had children. Cousins, lots of cousins. The families gathered often. Birthday parties, Thanksgiving dinners, 4th of July barbecues. The Harper cousins grew up together, playing in the same yards, swimming in the same pools, sharing childhood memories. 2 of those cousins were brothers, Ethan and Noah Mitchell, sons of Susan's older sister, Patricia. Ethan was 25, tall, athletic, with dark hair and green eyes. He worked as a mechanic at the local auto shop. He was quiet, reserved, a little shy, but kind, dependable. The type of guy everyone said would make a great husband someday. Noah was 23, just a year older than Madison. He was different from his brother, outgoing, charismatic, funny. He worked in sales at a furniture store. He was the life of every party, always making people laugh, always telling stories. Everyone loved being around Noah. Madison had known Ethan and Noah her entire life. They were family. They had grown up together, played together as children. But as they got older, as they became adults, something changed. Something dark, something forbidden. It started innocently enough. Or so Madison would later claim. She was 18, fresh out of high school, working at a coffee shop. Ethan came in one day. They started talking, catching up. It had been a while since they'd seen each other at a family gathering. They laughed, they reminisced. And Ethan asked if Madison wanted to grab dinner sometime. It was supposed to be just cousins hanging out, nothing more. But dinner turned into something else. They talked for hours. They discovered they had more in common than they realized. They shared dreams, fears, hopes for the future. And when Ethan walked Madison to her car that night, he kissed her. It was wrong. They both knew it. They were cousins, family. But the attraction was undeniable. And Madison didn't care about what was right or wrong. She cared about what she wanted, and she wanted Ethan. They started seeing each other in secret, meeting at hotels in nearby towns where no one would recognize them, texting late at night when their families were asleep, stealing moments together whenever they could. It was exciting, forbidden, thrilling. Madison loved the danger of it, the secrecy, the risk. For 2 years, Madison and Ethan carried on their secret relationship. They were careful. They never told anyone. They never slipped up at family gatherings. They played their roles perfectly. Cousins, just cousins, nothing more. But Madison got bored. She always got bored. That was her pattern. That was who she was. She craved excitement, drama, chaos. And a secret relationship with Ethan, no matter how forbidden, had become routine, predictable, dull. So Madison did something unthinkable. She set her sights on Noah, Ethan's younger brother, her other cousin. Madison was calculated, manipulative. She knew exactly what she was doing, and she knew exactly how to do it. She started slowly, casually mentioning to Noah that she wanted to get in better shape, asking if he'd go to the gym with her. Noah, being the friendly, outgoing guy he was, agreed. They started working out together 3 times a week, and during those workouts, during those conversations in the car, during those protein shakes after the gym, Madison planted seeds. She told Noah she felt lonely, that she wanted to find someone special, but all the guys in Riverview were immature. She asked Noah what he looked for in a girl. She laughed at his jokes. She touched his arm when they talked. She looked into his eyes just a little too long. Noah was falling for her, hard. But he was conflicted. This was his cousin, his family. It was wrong. He knew it was wrong. But Madison was magnetic. She drew him in, made him feel special, made him feel like he was the only person in the world who truly understood her. And then, one night, after a particularly intense workout, Madison invited Noah back to her apartment. She said she wanted to cook dinner for him, to thank him for being such a good workout partner. Noah hesitated, but he agreed. That night, Madison made her move. She told Noah she had feelings for him, that she had been attracted to him for years, that she couldn't fight it anymore. And when Noah tried to protest, when he tried to remind her they were family, Madison kissed him. Noah didn't resist. He wanted her. He had wanted her for months. And in that moment, all the reasons why this was wrong, all the family complications, all the moral objections, they all disappeared. Madison and Noah started a secret relationship, just like Madison and Ethan, meeting in secret, texting when no one was watching, pretending to be just cousins at family gatherings. But here's the twist. The truly sick, twisted part of Madison's game. She never broke up with Ethan. She kept both relationships going. At the same time, she was dating 2 brothers, 2 cousins, simultaneously. Neither one knew about the other. Madison thrived on the chaos. She loved juggling the 2 relationships. She loved the lies, the deception, the thrill of nearly getting caught. She would spend Monday nights with Ethan, Wednesday nights with Noah, and Fridays. Fridays were her wild card. Sometimes Ethan, sometimes Noah. She kept detailed notes in her phone to keep track of all her lies, what she told each of them, what excuses she used, what stories she spun. She told Ethan she was working late at the office. She told Noah she had book club meetings. She told her parents she was out with girlfriends. Everyone believed her, because Madison Harper was a good girl, a trustworthy girl, a girl who would never lie to her family. This went on for 8 months. 8 months of Madison playing both brothers. 8 months of secret hotel rooms. 8 months of elaborate lies. 8 months of Madison living a double life, or rather, a triple life. But secrets, especially secrets this big, this twisted, they don't stay buried forever. Eventually, someone always finds out. It was a text message that started the unraveling. A simple, innocent text message that destroyed everything. Noah was at his brother Ethan's apartment one Saturday afternoon. They were watching football, drinking beer. Just 2 brothers hanging out. Noah's phone was charging on the kitchen counter, and when a text came through, the screen lit up. Ethan glanced at it. He didn't mean to snoop. He wasn't trying to invade his brother's privacy. But the name on the screen caught his attention. Madison. Ethan picked up the phone. He read the text. "Can't wait to see you tonight. I've been thinking about you all day. Wear that cologne I like." Ethan's blood ran cold. That text, that intimate, romantic text, was from Madison, to his brother, to Noah. Ethan's mind raced. Why was Madison texting Noah like that? Were they? No, that couldn't be possible. Madison was his. They had been together for almost 3 years. She loved him. She had told him so, many times. But the text was undeniable. Madison was involved with Noah, his younger brother, while still involved with him. When Noah came back from the bathroom, Ethan was holding his phone. His face was white. His hands were shaking. He showed Noah the screen. "What is this?" Noah's face went pale. He stammered. He tried to lie, but Ethan wasn't having it. "How long? How long have you been with Madison?" Noah couldn't lie anymore. The truth spilled out. 8 months. They had been together for 8 months, but Noah was confused. Why did Ethan care so much? They were just cousins, just family. Unless... "Are you with her too?" Noah asked, his voice barely a whisper. Ethan nodded. And in that moment, both brothers realized what Madison had done. She had played them both, for months, lying to both of them, manipulating both of them, using both of them. The brothers were devastated, angry, humiliated, but more than anything, they felt betrayed, by family, by someone they thought they could trust. They confronted Madison that same night. They showed up at her apartment, together, united, demanding answers. Madison tried to lie her way out of it. She tried to make excuses. She said she was confused. She said she loved them both. She said she never meant to hurt anyone. But Ethan and Noah weren't buying it. They saw through her manipulation. They saw her for what she really was. A liar, a manipulator, a woman who didn't care who she hurt. They told Madison it was over. Both relationships. Done. They walked out of her apartment, slamming the door behind them, leaving Madison alone with her lies. And that's when Madison, the girl who always got what she wanted, the girl who always controlled every situation, that's when Madison snapped. Madison Harper was not someone who handled rejection well. She had spent her entire life getting what she wanted, being praised, being adored, being the center of attention. And now, 2 men, 2 cousins, had walked away from her, had rejected her, had made her feel powerless. She couldn't accept that. She wouldn't accept that. In the days following the confrontation, Madison's mind spiraled. She was furious, humiliated, vengeful. She blamed Ethan and Noah for ruining everything. She convinced herself that they were the problem, not her. They had overreacted. They had blown things out of proportion. They deserved to be punished. Madison started stalking them, not physically, but digitally. She created fake social media accounts. She followed their every move online. She watched their posts, their check-ins, their photos. She monitored who they were with, what they were doing, who they were talking to. And then, Madison discovered something that made her rage explode into full-blown psychosis. Ethan had started dating someone new, a girl named Rachel, a sweet, kind, normal girl from the next town over. Ethan had met her at a coffee shop. They had gone on a few dates, nothing serious yet. But Ethan was happy. For the first time in months, he felt free. Free from Madison's manipulation. Free from the toxicity. Free to build something real with someone decent. When Madison saw photos of Ethan and Rachel together, smiling, happy, she lost it. How dare he move on? How dare he replace her? How dare he find happiness after what he did to her? That's when Madison made a decision, a terrible, irreversible, evil decision. If she couldn't have Ethan, no one could. She would destroy him. She would destroy his happiness. She would destroy everything. Madison started crafting a plan so twisted, so calculated, so evil, that it would shock everyone who knew her. She decided she would frame Ethan for a crime, a serious crime, a crime that would ruin his life forever. and that crime would be her own murder. Madison's plan was this: she would stage her own murder, make it look like Ethan had killed her in a jealous rage. She would plant evidence in his apartment. She would send threatening text messages to herself from a burner phone she would place in Ethan's car. She would write a fake diary detailing how Ethan had become obsessed with her, how he had threatened her, how she was afraid of him. And then, on the night of the staged murder, Madison would disappear. She had been saving money for months. She had a fake ID. She had a bus ticket to Mexico. She would vanish, and Ethan would be arrested, charged with her murder. Even without a body, the evidence would be overwhelming. It was the perfect revenge. Ethan would lose everything: his freedom, his reputation, his family, his new girlfriend, his entire life, and Madison. Madison would start over somewhere new, with a new identity, a clean slate, or so she thought. Madison set her plan in motion on a Friday night in late October. She had everything prepared: the fake diary, the threatening texts, the planted evidence. She had even staged her apartment to look like there had been a struggle. Broken lamp, overturned furniture, a few drops of her own blood smeared on the floor. She took photos of everything. She uploaded them to a cloud storage account, along with videos of herself crying, saying Ethan had been threatening her, that she was scared, that if anything happened to her, it was him. Madison's plan was to leave these breadcrumbs for police to find, to lead them straight to Ethan, and then she would disappear into the night. But Madison made one critical mistake, one fatal error in her twisted plan. She told someone. Madison had a best friend, Olivia. They had been friends since kindergarten. Olivia knew Madison better than anyone. Olivia had noticed Madison's erratic behavior in recent weeks, the obsession with Ethan, the stalking, the rage. And on that Friday afternoon, just hours before Madison planned to execute her scheme, she met Olivia for coffee. And Madison, in her arrogance, in her belief that she was untouchable, told Olivia everything. She bragged about her plan. She laughed about how clever she was. She said Ethan deserved it, that he would rot in prison, that she would finally get her revenge. Olivia was horrified. She begged Madison not to do it. She told her it was insane, that she would ruin an innocent man's life, that she would destroy her own family. But Madison didn't care. She was too far gone, too consumed by rage and narcissism. That night, Madison executed her plan. She staged the scene. She sent the final threatening text from the burner phone. She took one last look at her apartment, and she left, heading for the bus station, heading for her new life. But she never made it, because Olivia, dear, loyal, conflicted Olivia, made a decision. She called the police. She told them everything: Madison's plan, the fake murder, the frame-up, the evidence, everything. Police immediately issued a bolo: be on the lookout for Madison Harper, and they found her. At the bus station, with a suitcase full of cash, a fake ID, and a one-way ticket to Mexico, Madison was arrested, charged with conspiracy to commit fraud, conspiracy to obstruct justice, and making false statements to law enforcement. The charges carried serious prison time. But that's not the twist. That's not the shocking part of this story. Because what happened next? What was discovered in the investigation? That's what changed everything. During the investigation into Madison's frame-up scheme, police conducted a thorough search of her apartment. They were looking for evidence of her plot against Ethan. But what they found was something else entirely, something no one expected, hidden in a locked box under Madison's bed. Police found a journal, a real journal, not the fake one she had created to frame Ethan. This one was different, older, more detailed, and filled with entries that made investigators' blood run cold. The journal detailed Madison's relationships with both Ethan and Noah, but it also revealed something darker, something twisted. Madison hadn't just been dating two cousins for the thrill of it. She had been planning something else, something far worse, according to the journal entries. Madison had been slowly poisoning Noah for months. Small doses of antifreeze mixed into his protein shakes, into his drinks after their workouts. Not enough to kill him quickly, but enough to make him sick, to make him weak, to make him dependent on her. Why? According to Madison's own words in the journal, she wanted Noah to need her, to be so sick that he couldn't leave her. She wanted to play the role of the devoted caretaker, the loving girlfriend who stood by him during his mysterious illness. She wanted him trapped. But there was more, much more. The journal revealed that Madison had also taken out a life insurance policy on Noah. Without his knowledge, she had forged his signature, named herself as the beneficiary, $100,000. Madison's plan, her original plan before everything fell apart, was to poison Noah until he died, collect the insurance money, and then frame Ethan for Noah's murder. She would get money. She would get revenge on Ethan for some perceived slight, and she would play the grieving girlfriend, the traumatized survivor. It was all there, in her handwriting, in meticulous detail. Madison Harper wasn't just a manipulative liar. She was a would-be murderer, a cold, calculating, evil woman who was willing to kill her own cousin for money and revenge. Police immediately contacted Noah. They had him go to a hospital. Blood tests confirmed it. Elevated levels of ethylene glycol, antifreeze, in his system. Noah had been experiencing symptoms for months: fatigue, nausea, headaches, confusion. He thought he had the flu. He thought it was stress. He never imagined someone was poisoning him. If Madison's plan with Ethan hadn't fallen apart, if Olivia hadn't called the police, if Madison had gotten on that bus to Mexico, Noah Mitchell would likely be dead within weeks. The charges against Madison were upgraded: attempted murder, insurance fraud, forgery. She was looking at decades in prison, maybe life. Madison Harper's trial began in the summer. The courtroom was packed. Family members, media, curious locals. Everyone wanted to see the girl who had fooled them all, the perfect daughter who was actually a monster. The prosecution presented overwhelming evidence: the journal, the insurance policy, Noah's medical records showing the poisoning, Olivia's testimony about Madison's frame-up plan, the burner phone, the fake diary, all of it. Madison's defense tried to argue she had mental health issues, that she was suffering from some sort of psychotic break, that she wasn't in her right mind. But the journal entries proved otherwise. They were clear, detailed, rational, the work of someone who knew exactly what she was doing, Noah testified. He was emotional, heartbroken. He talked about how much he had trusted Madison, how she had made him feel special, how he had loved her, and how she had been slowly killing him the entire time. Ethan testified too. He talked about the manipulation, the lies, the way Madison had played him and his brother against each other. He talked about how lucky he was, that if things had gone according to Madison's original plan, he would be in prison for Noah's murder right now. Madison's family, Robert and Susan Harper, sat in the courtroom every day, in shock, in disbelief. They couldn't reconcile the daughter they knew, the sweet, perfect girl, with the monster the evidence proved she was. How had they missed it? How had they not seen the darkness in their own daughter? What had they done wrong? The jury deliberated for 3 days, and when they returned, the verdict was unanimous: guilty on all counts: attempted murder, insurance fraud, conspiracy to obstruct justice, making false statements to law enforcement. Every single charge. Madison showed no emotion. She sat there, stone-faced, empty, exactly as she had been throughout the trial. No tears, no remorse, no humanity. At sentencing, the judge looked at Madison with disgust. He called her crimes among the most cold-blooded and calculated I have ever seen in my courtroom. He said she had betrayed the trust of her family in the most horrific way imaginable. Madison Harper was sentenced to 35 years in prison, with no possibility of parole for at least 25 years. She would be nearly 50 years old before she had any chance of freedom, as she was led away. Madison finally showed emotion. But it wasn't remorse, it wasn't regret, it was rage. She screamed at Noah and Ethan, cursing them, blaming them, saying they had ruined her life, even in her final moments in that courtroom. Madison couldn't take responsibility, couldn't admit what she had done, couldn't see that she, And she, alone, had destroyed everything. Today. Madison Harper is incarcerated at a women's correctional facility. She has been denied parole twice. Each time, the parole board cites her complete lack of remorse, her refusal to accept responsibility, her continued narcissistic behavior. She still writes letters to family members, to former friends, to Ethan and Noah. Most of them are returned unopened. She still believes she was the victim, that she was wronged, that everyone else is to blame. Noah Mitchell recovered from the poisoning. The doctor said he was lucky. A few more months of exposure and the damage would have been irreversible or fatal. He went through intensive therapy, both physical and mental. He struggled with trust issues, with anger, with betrayal, but he survived. And eventually, he healed. Noah moved away from Riverview, started over in a different state. He rarely speaks to his family. The memories, the trauma, it's all too much. But he's building a new life, a better life, a life far away from Madison Harper. Ethan Mitchell also moved away. He and Rachel, the girl Madison had been so jealous of. They got married. They have a child now, a beautiful baby girl. Ethan still has nightmares sometimes about what almost happened, about how close he came to losing everything. But he's grateful. Grateful for Rachel, for his daughter, for his second chance. The Harper family, Robert and Susan, they were destroyed by what their daughter did. Robert retired early, sold the insurance business. They moved to a different state. They couldn't stay in Riverview. The shame, the whispers, the judgment. It was too much. They visit Madison in prison occasionally, not because they forgive her. They're not sure they ever can. But because she's still their daughter. And they still have questions. Still trying to understand how. How their little girl became a monster, Olivia, the friend who turned Madison in. She struggled with guilt for years, wondering if she had done the right thing, wondering if she had betrayed her best friend. But therapy helped her understand. She didn't betray Madison. She saved Noah's life, and she saved Ethan from prison. She was the hero of this story, even though it didn't feel like it. The town of Riverview. They learned a hard lesson, that evil doesn't always announce itself, that monsters don't always look like monsters. Sometimes they look like the girl next door, the perfect daughter, the volunteer at the animal shelter, the girl everyone loves. The warning signs were there. Madison's need for constant attention, her thrill-seeking behavior, her inability to maintain healthy relationships, her lack of empathy, her manipulation. But people didn't see them, or they saw them and made excuses, because Madison was family, because she was charming, because they wanted to believe the best in her. This story reminds us to trust our instincts. If something feels wrong, if someone's behavior doesn't add up, if a person shows patterns of manipulation and lies, we need to pay attention. We need to protect ourselves. We need to speak up. Olivia saved Noah's life by speaking up, by calling the police, by refusing to stay silent even when it meant betraying her best friend. Sometimes, loyalty to a friend is less important than stopping them from ruining lives, from committing murder, from destroying innocent people. Thank you for watching American Shadow. This story explored the dark psychology of manipulation and betrayal. What do you think? Could someone like Madison really exist? Have you ever known someone who played people against each other, who manipulated family members, who showed signs of dangerous narcissism? Drop your state and your thoughts in the comments below. Pay attention to red flags. Trust your instincts, and if you see someone being manipulated or abused, speak up. Don't stay silent. You could save a life. Hit that subscribe button and join the American Shadow family. Turn on notifications. Share this video if you think others need to hear this message. And remember, evil doesn't always look like evil. Sometimes it looks like someone you love. Until next time, stay safe, stay aware, and remember, the devil doesn't come with horns and a tail. Sometimes the devil wears the face of family.